Hey, welcome back. Vegas. Were there any controversial calls to talk about? Does Seabell keep his streak? Does Logano choosing the lucky pit stall help him? Let's dive into this. So you know what I'm going to start with? Complained about it for the past couple weeks. The stages. Finally, stage 1 and stage 2, but mainly stage 1, is longer than the fuel window. And also, we're going to point out, so far Hendrick Motorsports has won the last 4 spring races, so we got a couple streaks on the line here. Does Hendrick continue to win the spring race? Does Seabell continue his streak and extend it from 3 to 4 today? I don't know. We're about to find out. Anyway, so Blaney, I don't get to watch practice because I don't have Amazon Prime and I'm not paying for it because I'm not going to watch it consistently enough. I know I probably should if I want to be a professional at this, but guess what? I'm not. Anyway, so Blaney, issues in practice from what I gathered. I think he wrecked because he couldn't qualify or had mechanical issues. I don't know what happened to Blaney. I know something happened to Blaney in practice and he couldn't qualify. So he started in the back along with, I don't have those notes. Seabell, Riley Hurst, John Hunter, Stenhouse, all to the back for adjustments. I don't know exactly what all those adjustments were. But moving on. So Blaney's in the back, 20 laps in. Blaney is on a roll. He is in Vegas, and he is, I don't know what you hit on craps, but he is just, he's on a roll. 20 laps in. He's up 16 spots. But hold on, Lady Luck. We know Lady Luck will strike at any time. 12 laps later. I never heard why he went, unless it's just to start the green pit stop cycles, or pit cycles under green. But he went 2 laps down. I don't know what the issue was with the right front. They couldn't get it on, or if there's something else going on, they couldn't get it off. But he goes 2 laps down with those pit issues. He does manage to come back. I think he was as high as 6th or 7th. He got as high as, and then you had the 4 wide, which he came out in multiple interviews and said he thinks it's his fault. You have to go back and listen to everything that went on, but looking at it, he's like, yeah, I thought I was 2 inside, 1 outside instead of 1 inside, 2 outside. So he crowded Gragson and Bubba. He said he thinks it's his fault. You have to look to figure out if he heard wrong or if it was told to him wrong over the radio. But he owned up to it and said it was his fault, which I agree, unlike some other people out there who said that he got wiped out by Bubba and Gragson, which was not the case at all. If anything, you could blame Bell, because it did look like Bell came up into his, made Blaney go high, but Blaney takes the blame, which is cool. Granted, whenever they're pushing him out of his pit stall to go to the garage, he was a little heated, so to speak, and he said the 20 just came out the middle and has no regard for anyone. Paraphrasing there. Don't quote me verbatim. So he wasn't happy. Obviously, he saw a replay and he kind of changed his mind a little bit, which is understandable. We have all done that, whether it's us or as fans, we see something and we're like, oh, well, so-and-so. And you're like, ooh, maybe that wasn't the case. Anyway, so he owned up to it. And Bubba actually recovered, or luckily, because that was in third stage, final stage. Luckily, Bubba had 14 stage points, so he actually moved up to 1 spot in points. So he had 14 stage points. He moved up 1 spot to 11th, I believe he is right now. So it wasn't too bad of a day. Basically, it came out to a 15th place finish instead of 28th. So luckily for Bubba, he had good stage points for stage 1 and stage 2. And then let's continue on. So we had Briscoe and Busch, who both are going to have 2 crew members going on a 4-week vacation here. Briscoe, tire fell off. No harm, no foul, I do believe, other than the caution. Busch, on the other hand, he was outside 3 wide, maybe 4. I think it was 3 wide. Gets in the wall, and they're like, "Oh, toe link must have broke." Nope, you see, wheel loose. It was cut in half, so it was off. Not to mention, already, I forgot to write this down. He had already had a penalty. He already had a penalty, but he had a speeding penalty, which I didn't tell him until after he passed pit road. So he just stopped on the front stretch and went to the tail end of the longest line. I do believe that is how it goes. Maybe not, because Denny did a pass through. I was confused about that because they said Denny and Busch. Denny did a pass through. Busch just stopped in front of the baseball field, as Mike LaJoie calls it, on the front stretch. Actually, there's a lot. I forgot to write this down, but yeah, Riley Herbst was speeding everywhere, but on the racetrack, it seemed like. I mean, Elliott got popped. Busch, like I said, there was a lot getting popped for pit road speeding. Oh, Bowman got caught. McDowell got caught. Anyway, so Briscoe, unlike Busch took to the garage. He ended up coming back out. I think he was 34 laps down. He finished 33rd, but he had to do a 2-lap penalty. He was able to come from 4 laps down, and he finished 17th. So I mean, you gotta look at that as a win in the book. A moral victory. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. A moral victory, if you believe in those, and I think they do exist at a certain time, certain place, and this is definitely one of them. He just got 50 points back from winning the appeal, and then he finished 17th after being 4 laps down, which could have been bad. Let's talk about Seabell, since we're talking about Briscoe. Seabell pits. I don't know if I'm assuming it'd be the tire changer. He comes up, his head shaking. Adam Stevens comes on the radio. Hey, stop in someone's box. He didn't say Briscoe. I'm assuming it means, hey, stop in a teammate's box. He didn't say stop in Briscoe's box. He said stop in someone's box, which I would assume, which going forward. Anyway, so he stops in Briscoe's box. They're kind of not confused, but kind of confused on what. So the guy with the gun goes around to the right side, and then no, they're pointing to the left side, left front. So he ties up the left front, and he gets up and he throws his hands up in there, and it's like, I'd be confused too on what just happened. So I think the penalty for that was to the longest line, tail end of the longest line, which I think is fair. I know some people are saying NASCAR is going to create a rule to prevent this, but according to Adam Stern, he already talked to NASCAR, because this came up in the past in meetings, in JGR competition meetings, and they've talked to NASCAR. So I don't think they'd do a rule against it now, because if it's been brought up in the past, which sounds like last year, they would have made a rule against it in the offseason, like, hey, we got JGR teams asking if you can do this or not do this, so we should make it a rule against it right now. So since there's no rule already against it, I don't think there should be. I don't think NASCAR will come back Wednesday, Tuesday, whenever they do all that stuff, and say, hey, you know what, you can't do this anymore. Or they shouldn't. After all, it is a team sport, and he went to his team. I don't care if he pulled in the HMS box they tightened up for him. I mean, it could be, maybe should it be more than to the tail end of the longest line? Maybe not. Who knows? But it's definitely better than an alternative of going out there under green flag, tire comes off, someone hits it, shoots it up in the stands, and heaven forbid someone is no longer with us because his tire came off. I think the penalty works. They caught it before they got on the racetrack. His race was over at that point in time. And it was heads up thinking. Granted, they said there are Adam Stevens already said they talked about it with NASCAR, and there's already a game plan, which I feel like it should there's really nothing to gain from doing that other than, hey, we're not getting a 2-lap penalty. We're not getting 2 people spent on vacation. We're not getting 2 crew members sent on vacation, and it's just safer for the competitors. I mean, I would assume if you hit that tire as a driver, if it got launched in the air and you're doing, I'd probably say average NASCAR speeds at any given track, 160, 150, that comes in the windshield, that could be bad. So I'd say NASCAR's not going to do anything. They might address the issue and say, yes, it's fine. They might address the penalty for doing so, but I don't think you can make it worse than if you lose a tire, because otherwise they might just go out there and keep on going and lose a tire if you're going to make it worse. Oh, so NASCAR, per Mike Joy. I missed part of this because my kids, I had them while my wife was doing other things. But, so the NASCAR issues, the power steering issues that have, what I think has primarily been Joe Gibbs the past couple weeks. So NASCAR has said that it's not because it's a single source from Woodward, which Woodward makes great products. They're used all over the nation in dirt late models. So I have a little bit of knowledge of this situation. They said it's from, because you can change the rack and pinion, or the rack. Not rack and pinion, but the rack. You can change the rack. So you don't want, depending, every driver is different. You want a stiff steering wheel or some want a soft steering wheel. So NASCAR allows them, from what I'm gathering from Mike Joy, he didn't do the best job explaining it. I'm probably not doing the best job explaining it now. But basically, you get the parts from Woodward and then you can service it to your style. So if a driver wants it stiff, you can do the valving or however it works on the internals. I don't know that much about them, but I do know you can change them. Would probably be the servo is what they're changing. It's really not the pinion or the rack. And so they can make it stiffer or not as stiff. So when as they're doing this, they're not putting something back together right, would be my guess. So it's not a Woodward problem, a quality control issue. It's a team reassembling the racks issue problem. And Ty Gibbs, man, I don't think he wasn't doing great. He wasn't doing good to begin with, but he's coming in the pit. Hocevar's trying to leave. Hocevar spins around backwards, so now he's facing the wrong way in his pit stall, and eventually, hopefully they can get it together, because they have been on one heck of a streak. So let's round this out. Josh Berry, how about it? Wood Brothers, they get their 100th win at Darlington not Talladega. Jeez, I'm all over the place. At Daytona last year. So you get their 100th win. It's 10 races after that. So 15 races later, they get their 101st win. I mean, hey, I'm not saying they're ever gone, but the Wood Brothers might be back. And but Barry and Suarez, they're 20, whatever they, it's like 20 to go when we went green again. 2018, 22-18 to go. Barry and Suarez, they were side by side drafting, doing everything they could to try to get the position. It was clean. I'll be honest, everything that Suarez has said about Catherine Legg after last week, I was getting ready to write some stuff down. As his comments about being NASCAR needs to have stricter approval policies. But hey, he was a professional. He kept it clean. Barry kept it clean, which we all knew Barry is a good driver. He's clean. And we got 10 laps of that, and then once Barry cleared him, it was over. pretty much a snooze fest once again after that. Like, to me personally, the race was not that exciting. It had a few moments, but other than that, it was not. So, stage points. We have Larson with the most stage points with 16, Bubba with 14, Cindric with 10, Byron with 9, Bowman had 9, Hocevar had 8, Chastain 8, Elliott 8, Barry 6. So not only did Barry win, but he had 6. So he had a really great point. That is probably why he moved up 8 spots to 13th. So he's locked in playoffs, so points really don't matter for him. But hey, he's 13th in points right now. That's got to be probably a bigger morale booster, confidence booster. But we're 13th in points right now. We are on top of the world in their eyes. We just got to keep on going. But they lock in themselves in the playoffs. Blaney had 5, which helps him a little. He's still probably not happy. I think he finished 3rd. I don't even know where he finished. I didn't write that down. But Larson jumps up to 6th. He got 5 spots today. Then he dropped 5 spots to 12th. Suarez plus 10 to 19th. So, I mean, he's still possible, can point his way in. He didn't win today. He showed speed. We're going to Homestead next week, which is somewhat similar to Vegas. So, who knows how Trackhouse as a whole was good. Minus SVG. SVG had some problems. But Ross and Suarez, they were good. They were fast. They were up at the top. I think they did may have got a little bit of lucky, but once they got up there, they stayed up there. I think they did some 2-tire stuff and then just happened to catch caution so they could put 4 tires on and still keep track position. Cindric, another, probably not a big story in some people's eyes, but in my eyes, I think it's pretty big. He is 21st. He moved up 11 spots. So last week we had Phoenix. Going into Phoenix, he was 35th in points, which he went up 3 spots. So he's 32 points leaving Phoenix. So after that 50-point penalty, he's back to 21st. And I told you, I think I said he can win a race and get in the playoffs. And I think I said he could point his way in. You have to go back and check out those videos. But I did not think he'd be in 21st already 2 weeks later after being docked 50 points. But that's good. Hey, you know what? They're just got to keep on moving along, doing what they're doing. But anyway, so that wraps up Vegas. And we'll see you on the next one. Until then, take care.